This week, our video takes an in-depth look at a well-known, yet often overlooked historic structure in Krugersdorp. Situated in Bill Taylor Park Monument, it is variously known as Fort Harlech or simply the Old Blockhouse. When the British Imperial forces invaded Krugersdorp in June 1900, the town surrendered to Major General Archibald Hunter without a single shot being fired. The British marched in, raised the Union Jack over the government building overlooking Market Square, and imposed martial law. British forces quickly assumed administrative control. As part of the town's new military infrastructure, between 5 and 7 defensive structures were erected, each with its own strategic function. Today, only one of these remains, Fort Harlech. For our purposes, a masonry blockhouse refers to a fortified stone or concrete structure, usually 1 to 3 stories high, with a timber and corrugated iron roof. These buildings featured rifle ports, protected windows and doors, and loopholed steel plates for defense. The first masonry blockhouses appeared during the early guerrilla phase of the war, shortly after the fall of Pretoria on the 5th of June, 1900. Most were built between 1st December 1900 and 31st December 1901. Some surviving sites bear inscriptions. At Heckport, known as Barton's Folly, for example, the date 9/1901 was found carved into wet mortar. Evidence likely original to the time of construction. Masonry blockhouses were typically erected at strategic points such as railway bridges, passes and towns. Several guarded the railway lines between Vereeniging and Pretoria, and high points along the Magaliesberg, such as the well-known Heckport Blockhouse, and 4 defensive posts at Commanderneck. A typical Modder River blockhouse was built from mortared stone or reinforced concrete, measuring 6.1 meters square. These 3-story structures had a ground floor used for storage, a first floor for living quarters, and a top floor for observation. A more distinctive type of masonry blockhouse was designed specifically for the Magaliesberg region. These structures, clearly influenced by medieval military architecture, featured crenellated parapets, varied floor plans, including square, T-shaped, L-shaped and chevron-shaped, and chamfered corners to allow for more firing angles. All were single-storied and built on leveled hilltops with unmortared stone revetments. At Heckport, the flat concrete roof was supported by corrugated iron arched beams. Notable features included high-set windows accessible only by iron-strapped steps, timber floors with ventilation gaps, and, uniquely at Broederstroom, a fireplace complete with kettle hook and external flue. Krugersdorp's own surviving blockhouse, Fort Harlech, sits on a hill in Monument Township. Named after the Welsh town known for its medieval castle, Fort Harlech overlooked the Krugersdorp concentration camp. This 2-story blockhouse is rectangular in shape, 8.65 by 6.25 meters externally, with chamfered corners. It is flanked by 2 single-story angle bastions, also with chamfered corners. The main building's original roof is gone, although its wall offsets remain visible. The roofs of the bastions are missing entirely. The ground floor served as accommodation and storage for a garrison of 7 British soldiers and 4 African men, employed as guards and servants. The soldiers primarily came from G Company of the 2nd Battalion Royal Dublin Fusiliers and the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. Fort Harlech is the only surviving blockhouse from the original 5 forts built by the British to defend Krugersdorp. It was declared a national monument in 1984. Other blockhouses included Fort Craig and Fort Dunoon, positioned to protect roads to Johannesburg and Pretoria. Fort Kilmarnock, a Victorian house in Krugersdorp North used as British military headquarters. This house still stands today in De Wet Street and has recently been beautifully restored. The British masonry blockhouses of the South African War marked the end of a 1,000-year tradition of stone fortification. No further stone forts were built by the British military after this war. Compared to the complex fortifications of 19th century, these blockhouses were small and simple, designed to hold off lightly armed guerrilla fighters. They succeeded in their purpose. Despite a peak in railway sabotage in late 1900, no major bridge was destroyed during Lord Kitchener's command. Alongside the vast network of corrugated iron blockhouses, these masonry structures helped contain Boer commando movements and bring the war to an end. As architectural relics, they are well constructed, elegant in their simplicity, and often blend beautifully with their natural surroundings. Unfortunately, like many historic buildings, they face the constant threat of neglect due to limited preservation funding. Fort Harlech, however, remains a proud survivor, a rare and tangible link to a turbulent chapter in our town's history.